And basically, if you go to your Facebook, you'll be able to go to my wall, and you'll be able to see people if they're on. Okay, cool. All right, welcome everybody. Mamish Shulchoira. All right. You'll be able to monitor from your Facebook. We've done this a million times. We're going to keep getting better at it. We're doing the Rebbe Shari Halacha Minhag. If I remember correctly from Chicago, it's Yuradea Kaf Lepoil Al Bnei Noyach Kiyum Hazayin Mitzvahs. The Rebbe's Psak Halacha in the work called Shari Halacha Minhag. Nowadays they've changed the title of the book. I forget what it's called. Ask James Gosnell. I think it's called like Shulchan Menachem, or I don't remember. And it's again the Rebbe on Shulchan Aruch, and they have it categorized as Yerodea 20, the workings of Bnei Noyach and their establishment or keeping the 7 laws. Do you see it on your Facebook?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Are people there?
2, 3.
Wait. Welcome. Everyone say hello to hello. What is hello? Say hello to Yiska and Jean-Philippe. Say bonjour. Bonjour. Okay. The focus of this year is going to be, if I'm a Noahide and I want to be Ger Toshav, can you just make sure that the picture stays, just so I know what I can and can't do. So if I move around, am I in the camera the whole time? I'm there the whole time? Yep. All right, good. All right, I am Ger Toshav, and the question is, if I'm a Noahide, Ger Toshav, all these different things, I want to go from Noahide to Ger Toshav. That's what I want to do. Do we all want to do that? Yes, we all want to do that. And I am told by certain Noachide organizations who shall not be named that you cannot go into Ger Toshav from Noahide because what do we always say? There's no what today? Jubilee. There's no Yovel. And that's not exactly true, but it's not exactly wrong. But for our friends out in Ask Noah land, they want to say that you can summarize the whole entire there's no Ger Toshav today, even though that's not correct so much. We'll summarize it as there would be a Ger Toshav, but there's no Beit Din. When they say there's no Ger Toshav because of the Jubilee, what they are trying to say is there's no Beit Din. So I'm a Noahide and I want to become Ger Toshav, but I can't because there's no Beit Din. I can't appear before Beit Din, so I'm a Noahide. The nafkamina is those people that say that I cannot come before Beit Din will say that it is illegal for me to reject shituf. Then I have to remain an akum, and I'm not allowed to partake in Achdus Hashem. That's what they say, ironically and radically enough. If you are stuck on Beit Din, then you're going to tell your Noahide students that they must remain Balei Shituf, they are akum, they are Shabbos Goy, they have no Achdus Hashem, yada yada yada. As Russell says, that's where the yada yada breaks down. If there is a Beit Din, then you can become Ger Toshav. You are halachically not Akum Goy Nachri. You cannot be a Shabbos Goy. And not only are you not a Shabbos Goy, notice I said you cannot be a Shabbos Goy. So then the question becomes, so David Katz says, there is Beit Din today, and the certain other organizations say there is not Beit Din today. But those other organizations who say that there is not Beit Din today, they will tell you that you can appear before a Beit Din because it's some kind of ceremonial good deed. And then those same organizations will say that people like me, but they actually quote Rabbi Yoel Schwartz in the name of the Veshav HaKoyen. Now, we've all heard of the Veshav HaKoyen commentary. And in my time in Chicago, when I was locked out of the house I was staying at, bless their hearts, they forgot to put the key out. And I went to Rabbi Turin's basement to sleep, which I couldn't sleep. So we did the Veshav HaKoyen. This is the Veshav HaKoyen. And I took the opportunity on this trip to finally really crunch the Veshav HaKoyen. And you'll see it quoted by the Blumenstiel's Ask Noah's programs is. And that they misunderstand the Veshav HaKoyen. And they think the Veshav HaKoyen is saying you have to go before Beit Din today, and a proper Beit Din, or you're nothing. You're not Noahide, you're not Hasid, you're nothing. Now, Veshav HaKoyen does not say that. To summarize radically what he does say, he says he thinks, and he lets you know it's his opinion, that you should really go before, not even Beit Din, but you really should become Ger Toshav and reject Shituf. Remember that discussion with Beit Dinim in the basement of the Chabad house? We said there's Beit Dinim on you have to. Right? We're not going to go into that whole discussion again. How do we say this again? I forget the whole analogy. There's two levels of Beit Dinim of you have to. There's some things that in life you absolutely have to. And there's other things that you have to, but you don't really have to, but you kind of have to. Veshav HaKoyen is saying you kind of have to. But he's not saying like you absolutely have to. And the Ask Noah's Blumenstiels is in the world are trying to say that the Veshav HaKoyen says you mamish have to. And then you get Rabbi Yoel Schwartz, who has his own shita, and they say in his name that you have to go before Beit Din. Are people watching? How many people are on?
2.
Oh, all right, 4. And it's interesting because Blumenstiel writes that he doesn't understand where Yoel Schwartz got that you have to go for Beit Din. And Rabbi Schwartz quotes Rav Eliashiv. And Rabbi Blumenstiel writes, I've called all of Rabbi Eliashiv's family and friends asking where Rabbi Schwartz would have gotten this information from. And he says, I have not found a source. What do you think my problem with that is? Rabbi Blumenstiel says that Rabbi Schwartz is wrong, that Rabbi Veshav HaKoyen says you have to go for Beit Din, and they learn Rabbi Schwartz says you have to go for Beit Din, and Rabbi Blumenstiel says he doesn't know where Rabbi Schwartz got it from when he quotes Rabbi Eliashiv, and he called Rabbi Eliashiv's family and friends, and they have no idea what the problem is. What's the problem? No idea? Why didn't Rabbi Blumenstiel call Rabbi Schwartz and ask him? Is that a no-brainer? Call him and ask him. Instead, he speaks Lashon Hara, Motzi Shemra, calling out Rav Schwartz without just simply picking up the phone and saying, hey, Rabbi Schwartz, what did you exactly mean by saying that a Noahide should go for Beit Din? But no, they do tactics that are a little bit lo beseder. And not only that, but the Veshav HaKoyen is not saying that. That's my issue. What Rabbi Schwartz's shita is, I kind of understand it, and I could go into a whole shir about it, but there's no point because that's not why we're here. What we are here tonight to say is, number one, speaking for myself, because I think I'm part of the ones mentioned in Rabbi Blumenstiel's retort, is I personally do not say you have to go before Beit Din, because that would be ridiculous. Nobody says you have to go for Beit Din. Veshav HaKoyen says, I understand you don't have to go for Beit Din, but I think you really ethically should have to go for Beit Din. And we said this Beit Dinim, there's two kinds of you have to, right? There's you have to, then you have to. And he quotes Rambam Hilchos Malachim 8:10-11. What I'm saying is, we all know that a Noahide can do Shituf. That's fine. A Noahide should have the ability to reject Shituf. That is called Ger Toshav proper. You'll find that in Mishnah Berurah 304. What makes me not a Shabbos goy? when I reject Shituf and keep the 7 laws, makes me Ger Toshav. That's Halacha L'maisa. But then they'll say, but there is no Ger Toshav today because there's no Jubilee, therefore you can't come for Beit Din, therefore you must be a Shabbos Goy, you must be Shituf, you must remain an idolater, which is just plain stupid. So we are here to say, what do I do if I'm a Noachide and I want to go from Noahide Hasid to Ger Hasid? Right? Rambam Hilchos Melachim 8:10:11. I want to be a Chasid Musal Olam Ger Toshav instead of a Chasid Musal Olam Noahide. Long-winded way of saying, Rabbi Katz, can I go for a Beit Din today and have it mean something and not have it be a ceremonial certificate from Noahide Nations with a happy little t-shirt that says, I'm a happy Noahide? Can you make it mean something? And the answer is yes. How do I know that? Because Beit Din doesn't mean literal Beit Din. The literal Beit Din is Ger Toshav Gamor in a time Yovel Nayeg when we are in a Zman Yovel Nayeg. Because then we check after you to make sure that you're not an idolater, even Shituf, because you can't live in Israel at that time, because a lot of dinim come into effect, and you have to not be an idolater. That's from the Torah itself. Today, we don't have that level of stringency in Ger Toshav, even the dinim that apply, because we're not in a biblical or temple scenario. So we can be more lax in having our half Ger Toshav friends running around. Now that's not an insult, half and whole. I am half a Kohen. I am a full Kohen, but I don't work as a Kohen because there's no temple. Just like the Ger Toshav is half a Ger Toshav, they are a full Ger Toshav in a sense, but because they're missing their rights from the temple, we consider them like half a Ger Toshav. Again, they are full people. I am half a Kohen, even though I'm a full Kohen. I should not have to explain self-explanatory things. Some of the dinim that are appropriate for Ger Toshav. Did you handle wine on Shabbos at the Chabad house this Shabbos? You did. Because why? A Ger Toshav, even today, someone who is not an idolater, a known non-idolater, can handle Jewish wine in a Jewish home. That's why that was done. Could you imagine if that was not the halacha, how embarrassing it would have been for the Chabad house here in Quebec City? Right? They hand out idolatrous wine in Quebec City. That would be a chilul Hashem ein kamo. But since it happened in front of Jews, obviously that is the halacha, and they know the halacha. Unless they're all confused, and I'm confused, and everyone's confused. But in that case, God help us all. But I don't think he's confused. Rav Lewin seems to have known what he was doing, and nobody had a problem. Even all the guests had no problem. Besides the fact that it's written very clearly in the Shulchan Aruch. Okay. So there are other dinim, like the Shabbos Goy, a Akum can go out from being Shabbos Goy. For your own personal Avodas Hashem, you can believe in God. You don't have to remain in Shituf. And we're not here to hash out all the different nafkaminas of a Ger Toshav as one is there. So, never in the sources does it say Beit Din. It says Gimel Chaverim. Come before Gimel Chaverim. And you will find that Gimel Chaverim comes from the Rishalmi, borrowed and lended into the Bavli. An example that I'm making up from the Rishalmi, because it happens many times, so I'm paraphrasing in a certain sense. We live in the times of the temple. And I have holy food, because I'm a holy working Kohen. And my holy Ger Toshav friends are working with holy food. And I need to know that these non-Jewish friends of mine don't mess it up. Because there's big consequences if they mess it up. So they learn the laws of holy food. And they come before 3 scholars, Gimel Chaverim, and we test them. And it turns out my non-Jewish friends know all the laws of holy food. One of the definitions of Zman Yovel Nayeg is you have to be knowledgeable as if it were the level of Yovel. You know how like in Canada there's an election year, right? You have an election year,
Yes.
and you have some years that are not election years. So imagine that in election years are different than non-election years. And there are certain things as a Canadian citizen you have to be aware of in the election year and not in the non-election year. For example, you probably get a notice in the mail of where to go vote. But you don't get that tomorrow, right? So there's a regular Canadian, and then there's election year Canadian. That's like a higher status of citizenship that you get a little thing in the mail that says, hey, Jessica, go to such and such place to go drop your vote, right? So you're a little bit higher status of a citizen in the election year. You don't have the right to vote tomorrow. But in election years, all of a sudden, you're a little bit more Canadian that you get to vote, right? So Yovel is like being a little more knowledgeable than a regular person, right? You have to know a little bit more things. So your knowledge level's got to go up on a Yovel status. Like you probably don't even know who's running for prime minister in the next election or who even could be. But as it gets closer, your knowledge goes up, and then you know who's running and you know who to vote for, right? So that only happens in a special time period. So Yovel also is just more knowledge, more Torah knowledge, and then you get certified that you can exist in that time. We don't have Yovel today, so your knowledge level doesn't have to be so high. You have to know certain things, but I'm not going to quiz you on holy food when you come to my house. But I will quiz you on how to be or not be a Shabbos goy, or what to do on Shabbos, because that is applicable today. So that's called Gimel Chaverim. And Gimel Chaverim, a scholar is called a Chaver. And I want to know, are you guys my Chaver? Are you my friend? It doesn't mean friend. And Rabbi Aaron Soloveitchik actually translates Chaver as fellow. Can we have fellowship? And that is not the same as friendship. As he says, friendship is that, we talk about our problems and our issues. Fellowship is, do I want to hang out with you? If you are determined to bring pig into my home, I don't want to hang out with you. We may be friends, we may talk, but I don't want to hang out with you. But if you know how to handle my home, your home, then there's fellowship. Chaver is a fellow. So I need to know, are you a fellow to me? And if my fellows consider y'all fellows, then we have fellowship. And that's why in the Talmud it says, Ezehu ger toshav, who's a ger toshav? One who becomes my fellow. And how do you become a fellow? You reject shituf. Right? So can you reject shituf? Go before three fellows. Loosely, you can translate three fellows as Beit Din. Me and my two friends, or my two fellows, we make up a Beit Din. But by definition, it's not the same Beit Din as, let's say, in the Yovel. How is that possible? Please get it right. Come on. Put your Brisker hat on. What do you do? Come on. Zwei Dinim. Zwei Dinim. Right? Zwei Dinim? Zwei Dinim, as we learned yesterday with Yizka and our 10-year-old little Chavrusa. You hear from it two things. Two different kinds of Beit Din. If I say Beit Din, you can say, do you mean Beit Din temple? Or Beit Din, just three guys sitting together? Right? If let's say, I wanted to borrow $1,000. Okay? I'd like to borrow $1,000. And you want me to be sure that I'm going to pay you back. So we're going to call over three Jews to make a Beit Din. The three fellows are going to sit down, and I'm going to say, yes, I, David Katz, pledge to give back $1,000 on such and such date, such and such conditions. They are a Beit Din. It happened for a Beit Din, right? So it's like official. So I can't say, I don't know about the $1,000. I don't know what you mean. It's official. Now, is that the same Beit Din as the time of the temple? No. That's just three Jews sitting down and just saying, like, I hear what you say. It's not official. So there's different levels of Beit Din, right? So it's Fei Dinim. There's two kinds of Beit Din. There's actually more than two kinds. But we'll say, for the sake of argument, there's official Beit Din and unofficial Beit Din. So already when we say, how many people are around, just so I know? Oh, people that, hi everybody in Facebook land. Hi. When we say Gimel Chaverim, we are not talking Yovel. Get that out of your head. It's Ger Toshav Bizman Hazeh. So now, when you find in rabbinic writings that say Beit Din, is it, now this is the only question that matters. Out of all of your Noahide friends out there, and it only comes down to one issue. Let's pretend that there is no Yovel, and there is no Gimel Chaverim, and there's none of these things. There's just a bunch of non-Jews and Jews arguing one question, Jean-Philippe. One. Beit Din. Beit Din. I'm a Noahide, and I want to be serious. We're either going to use Shituf if it's too complicated for people. I want to be a serious Noahide. Sound right? Can I go before, or do I have to go before Beit Din? Literally. Or is it Beit Din Lav Dafka, James Gosnell, whenever you hear this? You know what Beit Din Lav Dafka means? When I come to your home and I ask you for a glass of water, you will say to me, Rabbi Katz, the refrigerator is over there. Help yourself to a glass of water. Right? And I say, okay, so I go in your refrigerator and I say, Jean-Philippe, thank you for the water. Did you mean that dafka? I can help myself to water. Can I help myself to other things too? Maybe there's orange juice in there. And let's say you particularly wouldn't mind if I drank your orange juice. So you would call that lav dafka. I say, Jean-Philippe, can I have something to drink? And you said, sure. Go to the refrigerator and help yourself to a glass of water. And I come back and I'm saying, I'm not too happy about the water. And you say, why? And I say, well, I saw that you had really good, fresh, squeezed orange juice. And you say, oh, Rabbi Katz, you silly goose. I didn't mean literally just water. I meant help yourself to anything in the refrigerator. That would be called help yourself to a bottle of water, lav dafka. If you meant only water, because the orange juice is yours and not mine, and I said, hey, Jean-Philippe, I see orange juice here. Can I No, you may not, Rebbe Katz. You may have water as I instructed you. That's called, hey, you can go to the refrigerator and help yourself to a bottle of water, dafka. Got it? So when again, to paraphrase, or re-summarize, I am thirsty. Can I have something to drink? And you say, sure. Go to the refrigerator and help yourself to a bottle of water. You either meant water and nothing else, or you meant, sure, water and any other liquid in the refrigerator. Milk, orange juice. And the only way to know is if you make it clear. If I say, Jean-Philippe, I'm not so into the water. Can I have some orange juice, please? And then you respond, sure, I meant that when you asked me to go to the refrigerator. Then I would have reported back and written in my journal, when we go to Jean-Philippe's house and you ask him for water and he says, sure, you may take a glass of water, he actually means you can drink anything in there. So I've been coming to this house now for 5 years. And I now know that when I say, hey, Jean-Philippe, can I have something to drink? And you say, go to the refrigerator and help yourself to a glass of water. I know that I don't have to ask. That means I can take the orange juice. Or, if you meant water and remain wanting water, and I take your orange juice, then I'm in trouble. I took something that doesn't belong to me. When you said water, it meant water. It will always mean water. A long way of saying that is, did you mean dafka or lav dafka? Specifically or not specifically? I want to be a serious Noahide. That is my business. And the rabbis say, go before Beit Din. Even though they never said that. They said Gimel Chaverim. And then later rabbis in shorthand wrote Beit Din. And we want to know, did they mean Dafka or Lav Dafka? If it's Dafka, then that means there's no Ger Toshav today, and because there's no Beit Din today, and it's because it's not a time of Yovel. Only in time of Yovel you would have Dafka Beit Din like that. Or did they mean Lav Dafka? In that case, it's not a proper Beit Din. In that case, it's Gimel Chaverim as we know it to be. And then you can become a Ger Toshav today, and you can reject Shituf today, and you can be an Achdus Hashem today, and you don't have to be a Shabbos Goy today, and you can have the Dinim Shaykh to Ger Toshav as one as Zed today. Right? Alright. So again, if we can prove, and there's only one source that says this in the later rabbinic writings, the Gemara of Avodah Zarah 64b, and the Halacha in the Rishonim comes out to the Rambam, Hilchos Malachim 8, 10, and 11, which mentions the Chasin Amos Ha'olam, the Ger Toshav, which Ger Toshav there either means Yovel or non-Yovel. Why? Because that Rambam mentions Gimel Chaverim, which is loosely interpreted as Beit Din. Another way of saying it is the Rambam talking Yovel for the Gimel Chaverim and the Ger Toshav, i.e., I become a Chasid Amos Olam Ger Toshav, a higher level Noahide. Is that only in a time of Yovel or now? And that all Noahide discussion is on this point. There is no other point. Every other point is periphery or in the peripheral to this point. That Rambam. Everybody agrees I'm a Noahide, and I'm not a Christian Noahide. I stepped out of my idolatrous behavior, which is not the same as my idolatry, because Christianity is not idolatry, because idolatry is 7 Canaanite nations, but it is idolatrous. I bow to a statue, and I have no idea what I'm doing when I do it, but that makes it idolatrous. That is not chassid. That is wicked. It is wicked to go and bow to a statue and in the face of God. So I leave Christianity and I become a Noahide. I am not doing my idolatrous things. I have not rejected Shituf because I don't have to. But I do the 7 laws because I think it's a very good idea to not kill and steal. I am called from the wise men of the sages of the nations. And that's called I'm a good person. And if I save Jews, I'm a chassid according to like the state of Israel, right? You call the chassid Musa Olam, non-jargon term, like the people that saved the Holocaust people in the woods. But if I do the 7 laws, because God said so, I'm now called a Noahide, and I'm a Noahide chassid. But I want to know if I can go higher and be Ger Toshav Noahide chassid, which means am I no longer an Akum? Am I no longer a Goy? Have I gone out from the nations? Am I Ger Toshav as one Azeh? And again, we've established what the nafkaminas are in the law. And again, a long way of saying it, this Rambam, Hilchos Malachim 8, 10, 11, where all these ideas are in there. Remember we said the Rambam carries a lot of ideas? And Rav Moshe focused on one idea in our earlier discussion. Well, now we're looking at this Rambam as all the ideas are inside. And if you say that there's no Ger Toshav today, then what you're saying is, just like that Rav Moshe, we're going to strip out all the ideas, and it's only a Noahide. So how do you learn this Rambam? Is it only a Noahide? Or do you learn all the different types are inside? And the Lubavitcher Rebbe comes in this halacha and explains to us the kalim in the Rambam. Is the Rambam's Ger Toshav non-Yovel, i.e. today? Is the Rambam's Gimel Chaverim not based in, i.e. Lav Dafka, i.e. Shaykh for today? Yes or no? If we say these things are applicable today, I can be a Ger Toshav. If they are not, then I am a Noahide and I am a Shabbos Goy Akum, and it is illegal for me to reject Shituf. It is illegal for me to believe in God. Pretty radical, isn't it? Who's online? What do we got?
8.
Are they making comments and talking?
Jake.
Hello, Jake.
Sonia.
Hello, Sonia.
Justin.
Who?
Justin.
Hello, Josin.
Rosa.
Who?
Rosa Landa.
All right, so everyone type 1 if you understand the presentation, adkan, and clarity of what I'm trying to convey, what our mission statement is without me having to reiterate. Do you understand what our agenda is before I start this text? 1 or 2? I type in 1 or 2. Type 1, let's go. No?
1. Okay.
All right, let's go. Sava Rambam and Perek Ches Mehilchus Malachim Halacha Yud Moshe Rabbeinu Lo Hanchila Torah Mitzvahs Elul Yisrael Shenem Moshe Gel Yago Lo Golo Right to the guy Mishar Oibs Shenem Orchachem Gagir of all Misha Lo Ratein Koyvin also the Galo Torah Mitzvahs the Chaim Tiva Moshe Rabbeinu Yago Lo Golo Is Golo the Kado Mitzvah is Tabu Benino Vekol Misha Lo Yagabo Yoharik. Why did I just read that very fast in Hebrew? Because I just quoted the Rambam in Hilchos Malachim, chapter 8, halacha 10. And I've said this about 1 billion times. And if you want, you can go to Chabad.org and look up the translation. And you can watch this video many times when it's on my wall. So don't ask me to translate it. You know what I'm talking about. Hine pashtis loshin haramba moire asher achiyuv lechoy. What is this? Remember, this is the Lubavitcher Rebbe speaking. How do you like that? This is not Bob Goldstein, right? Whoever Bob Gold. This is the Lubavitcher Rebbe's psak halacha on Noahism. Big deal. And he says the meaning of the Rambam is the mitzvah lechof. And if you want to know about that, that's the Sikha 26, volume 26, Parshas Yisro. Me and James and Justin and Dave and Bob Wells, bless his heart, we did that shiur in the Brisk Yeshiva of Chicago at the beginning of this tour, and that is also somewhere buried on Facebook land, on my wall and other places. I'd like to go on YouTube, but anyways, you know where to find that? We call that lechof or kfiyah. Same word, different tense. A Jew has a natural power in his soul, lechof kol boyei olam, to conquer the non-Jews. And the non-Jews, in their soul, they have the ability to take Kabbalah and reject Shituf and go to God. It's a function, very much like male-female. He pursues her, she says, I do. Right? She doesn't pursue him, and then he says, I do. It's not how the world works. The world works where he pursues her, and she eventually says, I either do or I don't. God willing, she does. The Jew and the Ger also, he pursues, because the non-Jew wants to be pursued. The Jew walks in with his Magin David. The Ger says, hey, Magin David, it's a Jew. The Jew wants to be a Jew, but he doesn't understand his power of soul. The non-Jew wants to be a Ger, but doesn't understand the power of soul. And as we come out of Klippa, both of us, and we embrace our roles, the Jew is eager to be a Jew, and the Ger is eager to be a Ger. And then, as the Rebbe says, when they get together, their Talmud Torah is the Torah of Mashiach. Very big deal. So this mitzvah of the Rambam is saying, hey, Jewish guy, don't hesitate to do kfiyah. Just go be a Jew. It's in the DNA. And the Gerim out there, it's in their DNA to do Kabbalah and become Ger Toshav. And the Lubavitcher Rebbe himself says it's from a diuk from the prophecy of Isaiah. In the end of days, the whole world will be Ger Toshav. So it's either now or later. This will happen. So this is like the source of, hey, let's go do it now. Eina ach v'rak medina Ger Toshav. This is not having anything to do with Medine Ger Toshav. You understand this Beit Din here? There's the Kabbalah of Ger Toshav and Dine Ger Toshav. Svei Dinim. The Rebbe was a brisker. How do you like that? Right? The Rambam was a brisker. The Rebbe was a brisker. Everybody's a brisker. And you say, well, that's not right. Rabbi Katz is wrong because the Rebbe was not a brisker. Well, he may not have called himself a brisker, but my friends, he just did a classic case of Svei Dinim, and you don't have to be a brisker to understand Torah the proper way, which is Svei Dinim where it applies. Brisk just made it really, I guess, famous, a Torah technique that every sage, tzaddik, chacham, whatever, Svei Dinim is just part of Torah learning. Brisk focused only on that, and they made that their thing. It doesn't mean only briskers do Svei Dinim. So again, Hine pashtis lashon Rambam moira asher achiyu v'chov eino ach v'rak medina Ger Toshav. Ela dehut sivoi bifnei atzmo shel kfiyah al hazayin mitzvahs. So again, this Rambam has nothing, nothing to do with Dine Ger Toshav. This is not a Ger Toshav Rambam. It's a kfiyah on the 7 laws Rambam. So you'll say, but it was a time when Israel made conquest on the nations. No, that was a classic example of kfiyah. So the Rambam brings it in Hilchos Malachim and the wars and the kings. But a Jew who goes into a bar at 3 a.m. to shoot pool and have a beer, okay, and his name is Ari Goldstein with his Magin David, he is doing kfiyah. A Jew never doesn't do kfiyah. A ger in the world, or a potential ger, is looking for the Jew. It's just, again, male-female energies. It just is the bria. So in this Rambam, it's telling the Jew, do kfiyah. It's not saying Dine Ger Toshav. And the kfiyah of the Zion mitzvahs. Avalo ne'amar shum chiyuv lechof kol b'nei noyech sheyeh Ger Toshav. When the Jew goes out to do kfiyah on the b'nei noyech, and what makes a person a ben noyech? By name Ben Noach, you know? He is only called a Ben Noach because there are 7 laws of Noach that are applicable to him. Do you know when you are called a Canadian? When the laws of Canadianism fall upon you. Otherwise, you're called a human, you may be called a female, you may be called ger, right? You are called many, many things. You are only called a Canadian in Canadian issues. A Ben Noach is a term for people who are shaykh to the 7 laws of Noah. Now, if we are talking about you where you are not in your realm of Bnei Noach, we need not refer to you as a Ben Noach. Right? I am not always a Jew. I may be a Cohen, I may be David, I may be an American, I may be an Israeli. I am a lot of things. So, when I am called a Jew, according to this, it's when I'm doing kfiyah. Now, maybe there's other times I'm a Jew, but in terms of this, when I do kfiyah, it's to get the people who are shaykh to 7 laws to take on the 7 laws. And again, it's like, why do you go to a bar? You can say, I'm going to have fun and look for the opposite sex, and meet someone and have fun, right? Then you might, the holier you get, you could call that like dating, speed dating, whatever it is. You enter into a particular arena where you're looking for a particular thing, right? Why do I go to a grocery store? I'm looking for lettuce, right? I'm not looking for a car. So when you enter this arena, it's for a particular reason. Okay. And it is not to make them ger Toshav. I do not function as a Jew to get the Bnei Noach to receive the laws of Bnei Noach in order to make them a ger Toshav, as in Dine ger Toshav. Because Dine ger Toshav is something completely different. Right? Shahari lo kasav harambam denitzdarenu lechoif. I'm not trying to do kfiyah so that y'all are lekabel mitzvahs. There's that word. See that? Lekabel. That's my point. What does that mean? That's the side issue. Is it real Kabbalah or is it lekabel? See how it's always a question? But anyways, I'm doing kfiyah. Look at the Rama. I am not conquering my Gentile friends to take on the 7 laws and make them gerim toshavim. See how in the plural it becomes different? Making them gerim toshavim. We're not looking to make a movement of gerim toshavim. So the singular ger toshav is different from gerim toshavim. You could almost say, you want me to learn about Canada, you want me to be Canadian, but you're not looking to make Canadians. Right? You want me to understand Canada when I come. And you say, Rabbi Katz, he's Canadian. Right? That doesn't mean I'm literally now, you want me to be a Canadian, I have to move from Israel and become a Canadian. And that you want everyone that comes to your house to be a Canadian. So we in the Bedard household, we make Canadians. No, you don't. But you may want to show your culture and what you do, and you say, yeah, he's like a Canadian. Right? When you come to Israel, I want you to be Israeli. Right? It doesn't mean I want you to become all a bunch of Israelis. Beit Din. Ki hamakabel oisam hu hanikra ger Toshav. When the person who is makabel, now it is the language makabel, see that? The person who's makabel, I did kfiyah to a ben Noach, and he said, you know what, Rabbi Katz, you're right. 7 laws by Moshe Rabbeinu is a really good thing. I believe in the Torah. I am makabel. I'm a ben Noach who took on laws of Bnei Noach. That thing is called ger Toshav. I got you to take a proper Kabbalah. That is called ger Toshav. It's almost like in Canada, let's say when we went to the pharmacy to buy the shampoo. Let's pretend that when you go to the store, you have to say bonjour, right? And if you don't say bonjour, they get very offended. So when I leave tomorrow, we're going to go to the store, and I'm going to go buy something, and I say bonjour, and you say, Rabbi Katz, now you're Canadian. That's Canadian, right? I'm now Canadian. That's what that means, right? You did it. You're Canadian. No one is suggesting that I am a full-blown Canadian for saying bonjour to the guy at the discount at the counter. But you can see, it's like when you get a culture right, you're saying, like if you go to Israel and you like this, you know what this means? This means wait, right? So when you leave Israel and you realize you see what the Israelis do, and then I say, Yiska, can I have the bottle of water? And you go like that. I say, now you're Israeli. That's Israeli. So when you take on the 7 laws, you say that's ger Toshav. That does not mean you are a ger Toshav, and we make gerim Toshav. Claimer. Mi sha'achim mekabel mitzvahs. Those that take on the mitzvahs, or makabel the mitzvahs, proper Kabbalah. Ubifnei Beit Din. See that? Ubifnei Beit Din. Before Beit Din. There's the writing. Beit Din. Hu hanikra bekol makom ger toishev. Every time you come before Beit Din, the Jew did kfiyah, and you became, with your Kabbalah, proper benoach, accepting the 7 laws of Noah. That's called ger toishev. Now it sets up the question: is it a proper ger toishev and proper Beit Din, or is it non-proper or lav dafka? Right? Aval etzim achiyuv kfiyah einenu kashur v'talui behilchis ger toishev. The etzim, the essence of the obligation of kfiyah, has nothing to do with hilchis ger toishev. V'chein hari b'kol makom shehizkir Rambam oinis ger toishev avida imak havlin ger toishev ela bezmana yoivel. When it is a ger toshav inyan, he'll tell you Jubilee. V'kan hashmita. V'hainu mishum dahacha lo kai b'dinei ger toishev. Since here it is not dealing in dinei ger toishev. Can it get any more literal than that? He's telling you people, this is not dinei ger toishev. Ki achiyuv lachof eino shayich legeirus. Ger toshav with a proper Kleenex. Ger toshav of a proper Beit Din is called a type of conversion. Ger lechetzoyim. And there are those in Blumenstillville that think all ger toishev with a proper. Thank you. Sorry. That when we say Beit Din, and they don't know that it's not lav dafka, then they want to say, so if there's a ger toishev in Beit Din, remember they don't know about this lav dafka things, they don't want to know, then they say, if it is today, is it a conversion, a type of conversion, partial conversion, or just a status? And it's not a this or that. And that's a totally separate discussion. But what the Rebbe is saying here is not only is our ger toshav discussion here not dinei or halachas ger toshav, it has nothing to do with gerus. Nothing. So what does that mean? Did you become a ger toshav here? Yes. Right? Did you go for a Beit Din? Yes. Did you convert? No. So was it a real Beit Din? No, it was not. Elosh Rambam neke b'derech agav the makabel zayin mitzvahs nikra b'kumakom ger toishev. He's saying that this is called ger toishev. It's a ger toshav thing, inyan, not literally, as in lav dafka. Aval ein ze chelik be'etzem halacha dakaiba u'lahachi lo hizkir da'im makabel ger toishev was man yovel. Ubetzvanas paneach the Rogachover going. Who Rav Lewin, your friend, was all about the Rogachover going. When he saw that the Rogachover was into the ger toishev, I think his attitude changed. The Rogachover going gave the Lubavitch Rebbe smicha. Pretty hard to argue with that, isn't it? Ki de ladasa Rambam gam ben noyach mekayim zayim mitzvahs mi atzmo bli kabbalah bebeis dim mitzvoyin alav l'chiyuso. That when they take Kabbalah without Beit Din, the Jews have a mitzvah l'chiyusa. Kleimer demoshik savi hilchos hanal siva lechof v'kom yishalol yikabo yahoyreg haina b'li Kabbalah klal aval im kibel aza filo lo nase al yedei zeger toishev v'kagon shahaya b'li Beit Din o shalo b'z mana yoivel ein ohergen oisto adorab mitzvoyin l'chiyusa. Long way of saying we kill those who we do not accept ger toishev. He's saying it can't be the dinei ger toishev here. Why? Because even without accepting in Beit Din, not only do we not kill you, we have a mitzvah to give you life. So it cannot be Beit Din ger toishev. Umavoya mediv Rabbi Hilchazoi dulachov eno toloi b'din ger toishiv. It has nothing to do with din ger toishiv. Look at Moshe Ksav. Upashu du lefid zed ha chiyuk kfia eno moito davka all based in all shalom. Upashut hu. It is clear and simple that according to this, that this obligation of kfiyah, eno motel dafka, is not, how do you say this in English? Eno motel. It's not, I hate the word, not established. Eno motel dafka al based. This precedent is not dafka on based. So can I get any clearer than that, people? What are they saying over there? You do not need based in for any of this. None of it. None of it. What are they saying? Say something, people. Come on. I don't know if we're going to finish the whole piece because it's long, but that's the point that I wanted to point out. You do not need based in for kfiyah. So therefore, the Rambam's Ger Toshav does not require based in. The Kevan the Eino Shayach LaKabbalus V'Chaloshin Ger Toshav Im Kain based in. Only for a proper Ger Toshav do you need based in. Man Dechar Shemayihu. V'chein hu pashtus lashon Rambam sheneket achiyu b'stama mibli yizgir yosu kasher b'beistin. And thus the literal language of the Rambam that he took up the obligation is without mentioning the attachment to beistin. You don't need beistin. Al pizeh mitzvah zois nohegis v'kayemis Bekol takfa afilu bezmanazeh she'ein mekablin gir toishiv. This halacha is all of time, and even in a time where we don't accept gir toishiv in Beit Din. Vehi gam mutelis al kol yachid v'yachid sheher shariyos biyado lapayu bezeh. Anybody who can be involved in this should be involved in this. The only obligation is not to make Beit Din or Ger Toshav, but to do kfiyah. Umemela de bizman she'ein yadeinu takifa shuv niftareinu mekol ekar achiyuv de lachoif. Ki yesod ha-mitzveh hu la'asois ma shebi yadeinu shekubo ye'oilon yekayim uzayin ha-mitzveh t'tavo adam. Im al yedei kfiyah, ve'im al yedei drachim acheris shel noyim v'shalom, da'hainu lazvira, u'ladaber al libam sheyakivu aleim l'kayim ratzon Hashem shetiva oisam kamitzvahs elu, kain nir pashtus kavanas of Rambam me'inyan zeh. What about today when I can't put a sword to your throat and say, take on the 7 laws? He says, do it nicely. Noyim v'shalom, kind words. Encourage people to do the mitzvahs. You never are out of the mitzvah of kfiyah. So you can, when Israel is strong, they can conquer Syria at the sword and do it. But the Jew is never out or released from kfiyah. And this is not the place where we say we make you ger toshav. It's the Jew does kfiyah. And the goal is to get the non-Jew to take Kabbalah of Zion mitzvahs, which is called Ger Toshav. And therefore, since it's not Dinei Ger Toshav or Hilchos Ger Toshav, and it's not connected to Beit Din, what's the answer, Jean-Philippe? Beit Din Lav Dafka. We have our answer. Yeah? We're going to stop there. The rest goes into, I'll summarize, the rest of it goes into, he talks about Hilchos Mila by an Eved, right? All about the Ger Toshav and the Eved, and be like a Ger Toshav. And then he goes further into, More of that. Again, and then he goes into what the conversion thing, that we learn that just like converts have to do a proper Kabbalah of Malchus Shemayim and the mitzvahs, Ger Toshav, which is not a convert, still has to not only be makabel the mitzvahs. See, your Kabbalah or Kibel is when they're Kibel Zion mitzvahs. That's not the jargon term Kibel. Jargon term Kibel is when they accept the yoke of heaven. That's called Ger Toshav. There's two Kabbalahs. I accept God and the yoke of heaven, and I accept the mitzvahs. That is called Ger Toshav. Then I'm called a proper Chassid, and I'm careful in the seven. If I don't accept the Ol Malchus Shemayim, only the seven, then I'm not called careful in the seven, but I am called a Chassid. I'm not called from the wise men, but I'm not called Ger Toshav either. So then we go into the thing about conversion, which, again, read it in your own time. And then he brings examples of Matan Torah again. Okay? I've already done this class a million times. And just interestingly enough, I think we'll finish with the last bit here. Was that 1, 2, 3? Read this. Ready? Ela de yesh lehi stapek bahada kol boye oilam srichen lekabel zayin mitzvahs. In gam kablosin srich liot miv nations. When the nations take on the seven, does it have to be for the right kavana that God said so? O dezeu rak bekidei sheyikra mechasidim osa oilam akol chiyuv aleika b'zeh. Meaning, as my kfiyah, do I just have to like con you into the seven, trick you into the seven, convince you of the seven, or has it got to be seven legitimate? Another word for saying dafka, the right seven, or just because you accepted the T-shirt, I'm a happy Noahide. Now you do the seven, kind of, right? Which one is it, dafka or lav dafka? Gam Surich Biur, Kamoshik Sava Rambam, Vahodiano, Ide Moshe Rabbeinu, in Gam Zeh Chelik Miha Kabbalah. Right? In the Kabbalah, does your Kabbalah have to be right? Right? You're not going to Beit Din because it's Lav Dafka. But does your Kabbalah have to be kind of Dafka? Or, just because I gave you a shirt that says, I keep the 7 laws of Noah because Moshe said so, is that enough that you're called a Chassid? Or do you have to really take a proper Kabbalah? Not for Beit Din. Does your Kabbalah have to be emes? Va'agav Meloshin Rambam Shebnei Noach Mi Koidem Nitzdavu Behen. Right, because maybe it's enough that Noah was commanded, and you're an offspring of Noah, so by you doing the 7, that's enough. Maybe. Avoyer de ma'olam lo nifku achiyuvam shenemru l'noyach. Im kein har de isa bebavakama de amin vehatiran. Remember we learned in Avodah Zorah 2b and 3a. Remember that whole discussion? That y'all were removed from your covenant, and you need the Sinai Kabbalah to get on track with your Noahism. Einu b'toiris halacha. Yuyin Sham beperush Rashi in Hedrin Zelazeh Ayin Gam Eloshin Ramban the Makkos 9a. There's your Ramban Makkos 9a, the famous Ger Toshav Ramban that you have to take Kabbalah, and everyone in the Bloomsteel world wants to say it's a Beit Din Dafka. What do we learn from that? It's not a Dafka Beit Din. Loshin Ramban Lakaman Rosh Perik Tes Sorich Bior Perush. Look in the Chemras Yisrael. The Gimmer Jamir Dan Polotsky Moshe Zabzet. Ve'od Nira Meloshin Rambam. Ein Zegir Toishiv Ve'ein Machasidia Mosa'ila. Right, the end of our Rambam, if you don't do Kabbalah, right Kavana, you're not a Chasid and you're not a Ger Toishiv. The einod soyrech liyoid ger toishiv. You may think that you have to be ger toishiv. B'kidei sheyi bechlal chasida mosa oila. So again, udelo kamoshik sav b'shut v'shava koyin. See, v'shava koyin. Now you're going to read that, and you're going to think that the v'shava koyin says you have to become a ger toshav zman yovel Beit Din. That's not what the Rebbe is saying. The Rebbe is saying, if I don't take the Kabbalah the right way in the Rambam to become a Chassid ger toshav, not halachas or dini ger toshav, just a proper Kabbaladika person. If I don't have the right Kabbalah, I did not take Kabbalah that Moshe Rabbeinu said so, or I didn't do everything the right way, does that mean I am mamish a goy like an idolater? I'm an idolatrous goy. No, we do not go by the V'shava Kohen. Remember, V'shava Kohen said, come on, guys, do the Kabbalah. And if you listen to the V'shava Kohen, you may erroneously think, if I did not do the Kabbalah, I'm a mamish goy, idolatrous goy. Now in halacha you call that lechachila and bediyevid. He is saying lechachila, and there's nothing wrong with that. It is good to be a lechachila optimal person. But what about bediyevid? I did not have a Jew do kfiyah to me that encouraged me to take a proper Kabbalah. I am missing in my Kabbalah. So the ger toshav part is out. Does that make me an idolatrous goy? Or am I a Noahide chassid? I'm called a chassid, and I have a shirt. I'm happy with Noahism. I.e., is there a middle way? Yes. If you don't have the opportunity to have had kfiyah from a Jew, and you just don't know what's going on, you can be a Noahide chassid. So now me, the Jew, making kfiyah, if I am lacking in my knowledge and in my kfiyah, and I did not get you to make the Kabbalah ger toshav, again, non-dine or halacha ger toshav, the Inyan ger toshav lavdafka, I was lacking in my kfiyah, and you did a half-baked Kabbalah, are you now a chassid? Yes. You are not a chassid ger toshav, but you are a Noahide chassid. Because you would read the V'shava Kohen thinking there is no bediyevid. The Rebbe is saying there is bediyevid, and the Rogatchover is saying there is bediyevid, and then everybody knows there is bediyevid. The problem is so many people know the bediyevid shita that then they want to say there is no lecharchila shita. That the Rebbe would say you can't be a ger toshav. The Rebbe is saying the opposite. Of course you can be a ger toshav. You're supposed to be a ger toshav. That's lecharchila. The question the Rebbe is saying is not, is there lecharchila? He's saying, is there bediyevid? And yes, there's bediyevid. And then he closes and talks about it's a big deal and a big mitzvah for a Jew to do kfiyah. And if you can only make Noahides, then make Noahides. But the Rambam is talking about kfiyah, and the kfiyah should be ger toshav, lavdafka, Beit Din lavdafka. If you can't do it lecharchila, you're not putter from kfiyah, you're not putter from your Kabbalah. We try the best we can. And that's why in this Rambam, there's from their sages, then there's bediyevid Noahide chassid, and lecharchila chassid ger. That's all from Quebec City. Bonjour. Merci beaucoup.